Hello everyone, and welcome to the feature video for user story number 3115, Agent Profile Editing. My name is Dane Parchment, and I'll be walking you through this video. So to begin, let's understand what this user story is by reading the narrative and acceptance criteria. So, as an agent, I would like to edit my profile so that I can keep potential buyers informed with my latest information. Basically, we wanted to make sure that agents who created accounts on BreezeHome could edit that account information whenever they chose to do so. This is a staple feature in any website that allows users to register accounts, and so we would be remiss not to add them to the site for agents. So the acceptance criteria is straightforward and is specifically two things. Agents should be able to edit information found on their profile pages and see those changes reflected in real time, and users other than the agent should be able to see those changes as well. So basically, for the user experience portion of this, we want to make sure that agents didn't have to refresh their page every single time they decided to change or edit their account. And then users who are not agents should also be able to see those changes that the agent makes. Otherwise, there would be no point in the account editing to be a feature. So I currently have BreezeHome running in the background, and I'm going to jump over there and showcase this in action, and then I'm also going to jump into the code and showcase how this was made, and then finally I'm going to talk about any possible shortcomings that this has, as well as future ideas. So let's dive in. Currently, we are on BreezeHome and logged into an agent account. The agent's name is Knightley, and this is her account page. So we're going to edit this account because we're logged into it. We have the edit information. But before that, I want to showcase that I added an extra field here so that we can see the company that the agent works for as well as their position. So in this case, Knightley is working freelance, and she is a real estate sales associate. So let's go and view the edit page information. So previously, there was not a submit button here in the last video that I did for agent account profiles because we were still testing the agent account editing. But now that it's working, I've re-edited the button. So let's say we're moving out of the Miami-Fort Lauderdale area and we're going to Coral Springs. So let's add our new address here. And we're still in Florida, so we don't have to worry about changing that. We're no longer going freelance. We work for the Coral Springs Agent Company. And we are a senior real estate associate, sales associate. And we're just going to showcase that we're updating the bio by just adding a updated at the end of it. And so when I hit submit, we're expecting this to automatically change. It should go through and everything will be fine. So we can see our account was successfully updated. And if we go up, we can already see the changes. So let's go to our bio and information. And as we can see, the address information has changed. The company information has changed. The bio has changed. And so we're all good here. But we need to make sure that this is also viewable on people who aren't just Knightley. So I'm going to keep her URL here. I'm going to log out, and we're going to log in as a regular user. So let's go back to her profile page. And as we can see that the information here is updated. We see that her location has changed, and her address information that was added by her earlier is changed here as well as her bio. And we do not have the edit option available because we are not Knightley. And we also have an extra set of fields here, contact links with a send me email and chat me now thing, because we are now a different person viewing her account and we can now chat with her if we wanted to. So this doesn't also just work for regular users. Other agents can see her thing as well. So let's showcase that. So let's go back to her page. As you can see, we can still see everything is updated. So it doesn't matter on your account, as long as she updates it, you can see it. So with that done, and since we showed that in action, let's jump into the code and explain how this was done. So this was mainly a front-end project. So I'm going to start with the front end. All of this here, I can zoom in a little bit so you can see it probably a little bit better, is the tab. This is the edit tab here. So let's go back to the page. If I was to log back in as Nightly, and go to her profile page. This is the edit button here. So this code here, everything, my bad, wrong one. Everything from here to here is the profile editing form that we see. So basically, I created a model in the code in the controller here called edit account. It's a function that when you click on the submit button, it takes and stores in a parameter variable, a parameter object, a bunch of variables that are all from the agent's profile form that you have there. By default, we're sending everything, and if the data hasn't been edited, it stays to what it was originally, because all we're doing is we're taking from the global scope, we're getting the agent that has been logged in, and we're getting all that information, and then adding it to storing it in these ID fields and the address fields and the bio fields in this update parameter object. Then we update the account by calling the update method on the agent user service, and we provide it the agent itself, so the agent that we're updating, excuse me, and the parameters that we're updating it with. If everything's good, we go to the function update success, which will basically showcase a little toast that says the account was successfully updated. Or if something goes wrong, we showcase a toast saying your account failed to update. So let's go and take a look at this update function. And let me zoom in here so you can see it a bit better. What we do is we create a request. So we return a request that is a patch request. And a patch request is different from a put request. So what they both do is update the specific model that we're telling it to update, but put requires all the information to be set and changed, whereas patch only requires a little bit of the data. It's not. It's I believe it's idempotent, and so that is what lets us just change little things and not the entire agent account. Now, of course, we are changing the entire thing. But I still felt a patch was nice because it didn't require us to have certain fields set and certain fields set specific ways. We could just set it to whatever we want and then patch it. And then we have our headers, so we know that it's an application.json that we're sending to the server. So that is basically the front end for this. This is what's going to allow us to update everything. Now we're going to jump over to the back end. So in the back end, we have this serializer, which is what we are putting the put request to. So this serializer here accepts these fields, which are, if you take a look at the ones over here, are the exact same ones. Maybe not in order, but they're the exact same fields. And so we set a put request based on the agent's account, and we just update the information on this. There had to be no changes to the backend save for one specific area. So normally when you send requests to the server, there's a couple requests that are considered safe and unsafe. Those unsafe, the safe ones are your GET requests, your option requests, things that just return information but don't update information. Whereas something like a put or a patch request or a post request, those are considered dangerous because those sort of things, or not a post request, but basically a patch and a put request specifically are considered dangerous because they're changing data on the server in the database, and sometimes you don't want that to occur. So we determine if the user sending the request has permissions to send that request. So an issue I was running into was that we kept getting 500 errors because the agent wasn't actually given permissions to update their account or to send this type of request, a put or a post, a put or a patch request. They didn't have those permissions. So we kept getting errors with that. So to fix it, what I did was I went to the Breeze permissions.py file. It's something I didn't know existed, but once I found it, it has this has object permission function that determines if the object that is sending the request has the permission to do that. So I added a little if statement here that if the user sending the request is an agent, then it returns true, which is normally what would happen here. But this is just checking if you're a user and a super user. Because the is agent already requires you to be a user in order to have this field, I didn't need to add this here. So I just added it before and said if you are an agent, then return true. You're allowed to make those type of requests. And with that done, we were able to make sure that the requests that were sent to the server were okayed, and then the changes could occur. So that is basically how this was implemented. So jumping back up here, we're going to talk about potential shortcomings. So in terms of editing the account, there isn't really much in terms of shortcomings. I guess what we could add is some extra fields here and maybe some authentication stuff so that we can check and see if anything here was changed before you send it up, or if the data that you enter here is valid or not. But because the error messages that you get back are not that descriptive, so maybe adding more descriptive error messages would be nice for the agent profile editing. But in terms of the actual editing itself, everything is working as intended. So that's all good there. And so I guess in the future, all we should do is add more information to the error pages. And if you want to add other fields, they're pretty straightforward to add. All you got to do is add the form element, so the form input field or whatever you want, and then send that to the parameter update parameter object, and then it's sent along with the request. So as long as the model contains that field, it'll be updated. So thank you for taking your time to watch this video, and I will see you next time.